In this section, we will cover offensive and defensive scrimmage requirements. First, we need to define a few terms. The line of scrimmage is the line that runs from sideline to sideline through the point of the ball nearest the team's goal line. It is determined at the ready for play and remains until the next ready for play. The neutral zone is the space between the two scrimmage lines that is the length of the ball. Finally, the expanded neutral zone only exists once the ball has been snapped and only during plays with a forward pass or scrimmage kick. It extends 2 yards beyond the defensive line of scrimmage. During a scrimmage kick, the expanded neutral zone cannot extend into the end zone. The reason for the expanded neutral zone deals with the legality of blocking on forward passes and with first touching rules for scrimmage kicks. These will be covered in greater detail in later videos. The snapper is one of the positions specifically defined in the rulebook. He is the player who snaps the ball while facing his opponent's goal line with his shoulders approximately parallel to the goal line. In a scrimmage kick formation, the snapper remains the snapper until he has had a reasonable opportunity to regain his balance and protect himself, or until he blocks or moves otherwise to participate in the play. The snapper is the only player who is allowed to be in the neutral zone. However, only the snapper's hand that is on the ball can be beyond it. Once ready for play, the ball has been touched by the snapper, he cannot do anything that looks like the ball is going to be put into play before the actual snap. However, he can do some things legally. He can lift the ball for lateral rotation or tilt it up to a 90-degree angle. If the snapper places both hands on the ball, he may remove one. However, one must remain in contact with the ball at all times. Moving the ball forward, rolling the ball side to side, rotating the ball so that it becomes parallel to the goal lines, or end over end are also considered snap infractions. Snap infractions should be observed by the umpire in most situations. They are a dead ball foul and carry a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. The offense and defense have different requirements when dealing with their respective line of scrimmages. The offense is required to have 5 players on the line of scrimmage and can have no more than 4 players in the backfield. Since football is played with 11 players, the other 2 players should be on the line of scrimmage as well. However, if a team takes the field and snaps the ball with only 10 players, they can run a play legally as long as they don't have more than 4 players in the backfield. Wings should be counting the number of players on the line of scrimmage on their side of the snapper. If they have 3, they should hold a fist up so the opposite wing can see it. If it is a higher or lower number, they should hold up the number they have. Referees should also be counting the number of players in the backfield to make sure there is no more than 4. During normal scrimmage plays, the offense is required to have 5 players on the line of scrimmage with numbers 50 through 79. They can have more than this, but this would mean that they have less players eligible to catch a pass. They can also have a player with numbers 50 through 79 in the backfield, but he does not count towards the 5 required on the line of scrimmage. Players next to the snapper may interlock their legs with the snapper, but all of the players on the line of scrimmage must have their feet outside the foot of the player next to them. All players, including those that previously participated in the play and substitutes, must be between the 9-yard marks after the ready for play. Wings should be observant to substitutes, particularly late ones, that they get inside the 9-yard marks before getting set in the formation. The intent of the rule here is to make sure that if a substitute comes on late, he is able to be identified by the defense as a new player. Scrimmage kicks formations have a different set of rules that apply to them and can also be affected by the down. In order for a formation to be considered a scrimmage kick, it has 2 requirements. First, there can be no player in position to receive a hand-to-hand snap. Second, a player must either be on his knee at least 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage with another player 3 yards behind him, or a player must be at least 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage ready to receive the snap. During downs 1, 2, and 3, the snapper can be of any number and only 4 players on the line of scrimmage must follow the numbering requirements. However, on 4th down or during a try, there are no numbering requirements in a scrimmage kick formation. Any of these infractions are illegal formations. They are fouls that occur at the snap, and the play should be allowed to continue. They have a 5-yard penalty that is enforced from the previous spot. Since this is not a foul until the snap, the offense has until the ball is snapped to correct them. In order to be on the line of scrimmage, a player must be facing his opponent's goal line and having either his foot or head penetrating the plane of the waist of the snapper. To be considered in the backfield, a player cannot have any part of his body penetrating the waist of the nearest lineman to him. There is a small area that we call no man's land. This is the area between the snapper's waist and the waist of the nearest lineman. No player can be in this area at the snap. This is to avoid confusing the defense as to if a player is on or off the line of scrimmage. The only exception is the quarterback, who is receiving a hand-to-hand snap. If there is a player in no man's land at the snap, we should flag it for an illegal formation and allow the play to continue. The requirements to be on the defensive line of scrimmage is a lot simpler. If they are within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage at the snap, they are considered to be on the line of scrimmage. This really only matters when dealing with the free blocking zone, which will be covered later. Good officiating is being able to operate in the gray area. Our goal is to keep the attention off of ourselves and let the game flow. So on the borderline calls, here's the best way to stay out of trouble and let the game continue uninterrupted. If it is questionable if an offensive player is legally on their line of scrimmage or not, then we consider him to be on the line of scrimmage. If we are needing a credit card to determine if the helmet of the lineman is breaking the plane of the waist of the snapper, then he's okay. The goal is to make sure that the player is not gaining an unfair advantage. A point of emphasis in the past has been legal formations. We want to make sure that the offensive line is not taking a V shape to help in pass blocking. But again, on these close calls, we want to avoid throwing game-interrupting flags. Same with a player who's close to being in no man's land in the backfield. Give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's legally in the backfield. In this situation, we are presented with an opportunity to practice preventive officiating. The wing officials, who should be looking for this, can either tell the player himself or tell his referee or umpire to help address it with the player. Finally, if an offensive player is questionable as to if he's come between the 9-yard marks, then he has, and it's a legal formation. Keep in mind, the intent of this rule is to keep an offense from sneaking a player onto the field of play without the defense noticing. The spirit of the rule is very important when we officiate. Don't try to show off that you know every rule. Make sure that if you are calling a penalty that is not dealing with a safety issue, that the offending team is gaining an advantage not intended by the rules. To summarize, the illegal formation fouls are less than 5 players on the line of scrimmage, more than 4 players in the backfield, a player other than one in position to receive a hand-to-hand snap in no man's land, a player not coming between the 9-yard marks after the ready for play, linemen other than guards and snappers interlocking legs, and numbering restrictions. In normal formation, there must be 5 players on the line of scrimmage with the numbers 50 through 79. Or, if in a scrimmage kick formation on first, second, or third down, 4 players with the numbers 50 through 79 and the snapper being of any number. All of these are 5 yards from the previous spot and are fouls at the snap. Remember to let the play go and not kill it before the snap. It cannot be a foul until the ball is snapped.